Hi, I'm Mr. Glossinger. Welcome to Lesson 1.1, all about the basics of government. In today's lesson, you need to know the definition of government, public policy, why we have government, and distinguish between different types of government, including specific types of democracies. There are 5 parts in today's lecture. It's useful to use an outline format or some kind of traditional format for taking notes as you go along. So in our first topic, you should just know what government is. It's a system of institutions and people who control society. That's the point of why we have them, is to control people and society. Public policy, which is what government enacts, is the collection of all the laws and decisions of government related to different issues of society. There's a little quote there for you from Alan Moore. It's based on a Thomas Jefferson quote that I think is important as we go through our discussion of what government is. Now we know that government exists to control society, but more specifically there are 4 reasons that we have government. First, to protect our rights to life, liberty, and property. Second, to ensure the well-being or welfare of all the people in society. Third, to ensure that disputes are resolved fairly between people. And fourth, to define the proper use of force in society. And it's important to always think about, is government accomplishing its purposes? And when isn't it? There are different types of government. We can kind of divide government by who the rulers are, by how many rulers there are, and by how much freedom there is. Now most of these definitions are listed there for you, but the 2 that I think that you should focus on a little bit here are by the degree of freedom. Authoritarian governments tend to have more authority over the people, while libertarian governments tend to provide more liberty to the people. The rest of these are pretty straightforward. Now if we look at a democracy in particular, we can divide democracy into a variety of types. The first distinguishing mark is between direct versus representative democracy. In a direct democracy, the people themselves directly vote on the issues, so they might vote yes or no on proposed laws. In a republic or a representative democracy, people vote for representatives or candidates who then make decisions about laws for them. You can usually have a little blend of both. In the other distinguishing part of democracy is parliament versus presidential democracies. And in that, it simply means if the president exists as a separate executive who enforces the laws and they aren't part of the legislature, or in a parliamentary system, the chief executive, the person who enforces the laws, is part of the legislature. And there's a couple of examples there for you of the different countries that use the different systems. And our final slide deals with the advantages of having a democracy versus having other types of government. It involves more people in the policies that control society, and we would expect that these policies would better reflect the wants and needs of the people in society. These should lead to improved results in terms of the purposes of government. Recall that the purposes are the protection of rights, improved well-being, fair treatment, proper use of force. The more democracy you have, you should get better results. But it's important to remember that in a democracy, it all depends on participation. And think about, how does participation affect how well democracy can accomplish its purposes? So that's all we have. Here's your objectives. Make sure that you've taken good notes, and we'll talk to you next time.